Welcome to Talk Music with Will Dorsey Jr. Every week, our host Will is going to interview musicians from around the world and talk everything music. Our listeners range from professionals to recreational musicians who want to learn more about the industry, their instruments, and the community of top musicians. So join us, subscribe, and keep up with Talk Music. And now, live from his studio upon the mountaintops of Southern California, here's Ill Will himself, Will Dorsey Jr.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, E-Record Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their E-Record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Hey everybody, it's Will Dorsey here on Talk Music. We're going to talk to a buddy of mine, really cool dude, great bass player, great all-around musician. His name is Kemble Walters. He plays for a band called AEGES, that's his band, and he also plays bass in Chevelle. Please everybody welcome Kemble Walters.
Kemble.
Hey.
How you doing, man? I'm sorry, man.
Oh, it's good, dude. It's all good. Just gotta turn my volume up here. Yep, there we go.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's all good, dude. I'm like
Awesome.
I said, chilling today.
Awesome.
So
Dude, awesome. This is great, man. Man, what have you been up to, man?
Well, this immediate up to, I guess I got home yesterday from helping Todd, our buddy Todd Morris,
Ooh,
with his first little stint as being a solo artist. It was kind of fun. You know,
really?
I mean, Todd forever, obviously.
right. Like what kind of stuff are you guys doing?
It's just Todd solo stuff. So I'm not sure if you've heard it, but it's kind of like it's super poppy and like fun music. You know, I guess that's the easiest way to describe it. It's not really like, you know, when you think of Todd Morris, it's punk rock, right? It's not, not that.
Yeah.
He kind of does like you know, there's kind of like ska reggae and
Really?
then pop rock, I guess. Yeah, I mean he kind of goes through those two styles, you know, kind of circulates them. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's stuff that I don't normally play, so it's kind of fun to, and he's, you know, my best bud, so it's always great to get out there with them and support your homies, you know.
Yeah, no, you got to, man. That's great, man.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Anything you want to like promote or anything, you know, like even with your band?
Dude, I'm always up for promoting. Anytime I get a chance, I will. So
yeah.
I want as many people to know about AEGES as possible, because, you know, it's why we're talking. I've been and played with a million different bands, but AEGES I feel is like kind of the band that I've wanted as a kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it as an adult, you know? So it's a mature version of what I grew up on.
Right.
So yeah, you know, here, I even did this. Here, look, it's my band AEGES. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, this is the last record we did. It's pretty rad. But yeah, AEGES is AEGES band.com or at AEGES band on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But yeah, I just want people to listen to it, you know, get it out there, because I think it's tasty, you know, tasty. On the earbud.
But can you like describe like what type of music that is?
Well, initially when we started, you know how it is, like when you're starting a band, you're not, or at least for me, like you don't really know where you're gonna go. You just know the stuff you like, and your homies all have the same goal. It's like, let's make something great. So originally it was Failure, Quicksand, and Helmet. We're like, let's sound like that. And and so as the band progressed, it got more into like prog territory.
Okay.
With those influences. And I think the main influence that stayed throughout was Quicksand. But at heart, I'm a pop songwriter. I just can't help it, you know, like
there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, maybe an intro, but usually verse, chorus, bridge, chorus forever. And with AEGES, it goes verse, chorus, bridge, riff, forever, chorus, maybe. That's usually the thing. And so like trying to incorporate that style of writing with heavy music, you know,
Right.
I'm never searching for a single, since I do write pop music. That's kind of where your brain wants to go.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you do that, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And AEGES has never had a single, so I don't know, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. No, but
Dude,
yeah,
that's
I
all
love
right.
that band.
That's
It's cool. I think it kind of fits in between. Now it's like Deftones, Alice in Chains, a little bit of Mastodon in there. And back in the day, people compared like the vocal stuff to like Foo Fighters, you know, which
okay.
is always great because
Yeah.
I wanted to be Dave Grohl as a kid. And I mean, if you want to be real, who doesn't want to be Dave Grohl now?
No
You know,
doubt.
so I'm down. Yeah.
No doubt, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask this. Who who'd you did you have other people helping you write, or was there like a producer involved, or
No, we've had a producer once. So we signed with another Century/Century/ Red Music/ Sony. It was like it was when they were just going like this with, oh, we just, you know, got sold or bought or you know, taken over. You know, I was crazy. So when we did our quote unquote major label deal, we worked with this dude Bob Marlette. But he's great. He did like Shine Down and one of the Black Sabbath records, like later on. I think the one that Brad Wilk played drums on.
Oh, okay, that's a cool album. Was it like 13 or something like that, or
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's rad. He's an incredible melody guy. And that record's called Waitlist. That was our third record. And some of our fans loved it, and some of our original fans didn't, because we went in with a producer and it was like everything was tightening up and being a little bit more commercial as opposed to more like riff oriented or whatever. And so that was the only time we did it. And I think that we love the record. We all think it's great, but I'm not sure if it was the right record to have put out at that time, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so I guess to circle back, I write and produce and a lot of times engineer all the records myself, but I'm always open for outside songwriting and stuff like that. It just so happens that as a collective, my songs are the ones that we want to use, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy that's like, oh, it's only me, this is my band, I'm the writer, you guys play on it and that's it. Because, you know, I'm not trying to keep anything out from a success, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool,
So,
man. That's cool.
yeah.
Man, that's man, I gotta check that out.
Oh yeah, I'll send this one to you.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, can I ask, like during that writing process, and you produced it all and you recorded everything, or?
Yeah, so this record, this is our last one. So this was when we left the label. When we left, we decided to try to do it on our own. And I don't necessarily think that that was the right move. You know, I think we thought we knew what we were doing, you know, but as time goes, help is better than no help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we tried to do it on our own. And unfortunately, when we did it, I guess I'm fast forwarding. The pandemic happened right after, so we didn't get to tour much or anything.
Yeah.
We toured it for about a month and a half, and that was it. So on this record, I produced the whole thing. My buddy Josh Newell was the engineer for the drums, because he's an engineer wizard. He helped me out with the guitars at first, but unfortunately we didn't use any of those tracks, and so I ended up doing everything else at home. It wasn't because of a quality thing. I think it was parts and finances and stuff. Of like, you know, when you get to a point where you're like, oh crap, I need to do all that again. I can't afford to do it all again in the studio and everything else. And so fortunately for me, like I mix and do remote sessions all the time. You know, I want to do even more, but I've got, you know, you can't see, but I've got my desk is here. So I got my speakers, I've got, you know, my 610 and some other stuff here, enough to just do like really good 1, 2, 3 mic recordings. You know, I
That's
mean, I have
cool.
Orion 32 sitting right here, which is 32 channels, but I don't have 32 channels.
Oh, right.
Right now, you know what I mean? Yeah. So everything aside from drums, I do at home, and it's
Man,
probably gonna stay that way until, or if, whenever that is, a label's like, hey, we want to throw all this money at you, and you don't ever have to pay us back. You know what I mean?
see? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Man, there you go, man. I'm gonna totally switch off the topic,
let's do it.
and I want to just ask, like a personal question, like what keeps you up at night, man?
A lot of things. But usually when I'm having a hard time sleeping, it's because my creative brain has been when going, and it's either like, um, shoot, sorry if you can hear the lawnmower outside.
That's all right.
It's like, you know, I had a riff, but I didn't want to stay up too late because I'm gonna be exhausted in the morning, and so you kind of leave it early, and so songs are always in my head. So that's one thing that definitely keeps me up, and it's that, or it's when a record's done and you're trying to figure out how to promote it. I'll just sit
Right.
there on my phone, like finding people, because we, you know, that's another thing. We've dealt with a lot of publicists and stuff, but I've had the most luck reaching out myself, just directly through people, just finding who a journalist is and just finding them on not TikTok, but LinkedIn or Instagram, and just saying, hey man, you know, would love to send you something.
Right.
I think it's something with that personal connection. You're not separated. They're not like finding you through somebody who works for you.
Right.
So yeah, it's always business stuff that keeps me up at night. Or the
Dude.
question of, should I have really become a musician?
Right.
I don't know. The answer is always yes. Yeah.
Man, did you ever like had that one time, like you wanted to quit everything and
Dude, I have that moment at least once a week, but it usually doesn't last very long, because then it's
right.
like, what would I do? Maybe, you know, if I didn't do music, I don't know what I'd do. Actually, funny enough, this came up in a game that I was playing over Christmas at my parents' house. And it was try to figure out who wrote something down. So say, for example, you asked that question, you know, what would you be if you weren't a musician?
Yeah.
And I write down what I think I would want to do, and then everyone else writes what they think I would want to do. You put it in a hat, and nobody knows whose everyone else's thing is, and they have to guess what I did. And
Oh.
yeah, and mine was be a therapist, because I love talking to people, and I'm really good at talking people down and like calming people and doing that whole thing. You know, I like to think I'm a nice guy, but when I read that's what I wrote, my sister was like, I've never ever heard you say that ever.
Wow.
And I was like, I said it. My wife knew. She knows about that. But then I realized it's like 8 years of school. So
Wow.
yeah,
Really?
I mean, something like that. It's probably not 8 years, but it's a long time. It's like being a doctor, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's amazing. That's great, man.
Yeah, you know, I like people, you know.
Right.
But that's part of being in a band, is if you don't like people, it's going to be hard to grow, because
Oh,
at the beginning, even towards all the way through, you got to be able to relate to your fans and go out. And my big thing is merch. You know,
yeah.
I don't love selling merch, but I love the interaction with people when they come up and they, you know, the show or your song or something connected with them somehow.
Yeah.
I always think that's super cool. And then they're like, oh, I don't have enough money for that shirt. And you're like, oh, it's fine. Just take it. Thank you. And they leave and you go, well, that's why we don't have any money to get home. Flattery's always
Oh,
nice, you know. It's currency,
man.
I guess.
So going back to AEGES, right?
Yep.
And I forgot to ask this when we were talking about your band, AEGES. Are you singing?
Yeah, I sing and do guitars. I wouldn't say lead, but I do a lot of the leads. It kind of just goes back and forth. My whole band is a bunch of rippers, so there isn't a lack of talent on any of the instruments, which I think is awesome. I've always been blessed with great musicians around me. And so depending on what I love to do, if like, you know, I'm like, I gotta do that one, I love that, you know, that's my lick. Or if I just can't sing over it, then it's kind of like that.
All
Yeah.
right. Did you ever get like any like formal training or anything, or like
Not
singing?
really. No, well, singing I did, but for about 10 days. It was with this lady, Liz Lewis, who does her name ring a bell to you at all?
No,
She's
don't.
like she's like a big, she's big time in LA. I got referred to her, I forget who by, but she did like Chester Bennington and a bunch of other people like that, you know, rock guys, and helped them
Oh,
get
wow.
their range from here to here. And I went to her and it was like, I think it was $50 for 30 minutes,
Right.
and totally worth it, but I didn't have a lot of money. And so I did about 10, you know, so
Okay.
$500. And you know, she records everything on CD unless you take it home. So I had these 10 CDs. And so after those 10 sessions, I was like, I can't really afford to keep coming to you, because now I did, like, within 2 days, I was already up 3 whole steps
Oh,
from where I
wow.
could sing. Yeah. Like I was holding down, I can't sing super high, but I can get up there pretty good. But she helped me get up almost 3 steps within a couple of days. And so after that, it was just maintaining it. And I think she knows, you know, that's probably why she charges, I guess $50 isn't a lot, but for me it was.
Yeah.
You know, and then you keep everything that you learn. And so you've got her playing piano, talking to you, doing the scales. Unfortunately, I didn't stick with a lot of that stuff, you know,
Mhm.
and so I don't really warm up before shows or anything like that, or do scales. Uh, I just kind of yell in my dressing room, "Ah!" Which is maybe why I lose my voice a lot. But thank you for reminding me that I do need to find on CD.
Oh,
No,
I'm sorry, bro. I'm
I
sorry.
love it. That's good. That's good. Yeah,
Um,
Liz Lewis, she's the best.
so when you were with with Todd and like Chevelle,
Yep.
do you get to sing like, you know, background singing like
Oh
that,
yeah.
or?
Oh yeah, with Chevelle, I'm singing a lot, man. And it's great because I think Pete and I's voices really mesh together well, you know?
Yep.
Um, and it's funny because when I sing in AEGES or my own thing, I let my voice go where it naturally goes when I get up high, which is like gravel to like a aggressive scream. But when I'm singing
Mm,
backups for Chevelle, I try to keep it as tight as possible so that I'm like sitting properly under or above him, depending on the note, you know what I mean? And so
right.
that I'm not like the, you know, he's like singing all pretty and all, you know, like
Right.
you know, hitting the note, but all aggressive, crazy, like.
Yeah.
But it's nice because it's always cool to do backups with other people to see how your voice is gonna fit, and then
Right.
you have to really figure out if it's not fitting, how to do your throat or whatever to just sit there, because you don't want to overpower or sound crazy, you know, because there
Hmm.
are voices that just sometimes just don't work with other people, you
Right.
know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's cool, man. That's cool, man. That, you know, I didn't think that you had to, you know, worry about, you know, like singing, like where your voice have to sit,
yeah.
on that. I'm not a singer at all. Sorry.
For some reason I doubt that. I doubt that. You're too modest with your drumming skills, so we'll see. We'll see.
Well, all right. Well,
There it is.
uh,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think it's like for somebody like me where my voice wants to break up and get heavy the higher
yeah,
I go, I have to be conscious of that so that I'm not like, you know, if the lead singer isn't heavy, I shouldn't be heavy. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
It's like it's like this weird contrast. Unless it's a scream part, then obviously gotta scream.
right. So
So
what came first for you? Like, you know, was it you playing? I know you play everything, right?
well, rock stuff, yeah, and
Yeah.
trumpet, but
You
yeah.
play trumpet?
Yeah, it was
What?
that's a funny one because I was in band in school, and I was in like the you know, there's different tiers of band, and I was in the highest
Yep.
band for marching, for like not, we didn't have marching band in my school, but it was like, you know, I did the snares, like the big orchestra kind of thing. So I did
Yeah.
snare, I did timpani, trap set, and then the big old bass drum, you know, we kind of switch around through that.
Yeah.
But my junior year into my senior year, I had like already done all the electives, you know, I need a couple more electives or whatever to graduate. And my band teacher, he was one of those where like we hated each other. You know, he was like just on me. And I was like, you suck, man. I'm punk rock, dude. I'm gonna do it this way. I don't believe that this grip is right. And he
Mhm.
broke me. And he was so right, but the
Oh,
dude was hard, man. and he was awesome. And so finally, like it was one of those things where it just broke and we just meshed, and he loved me. I love that guy. And he was like, you should try, you know, since you have these electives you have to fill, try something else. And so I went in for trumpet, and I ended up being second chair for a year
Wow.
and a half. Yeah, I got pretty decent at it, but I mean, I don't have a lot of use for trumpet. You know,
Right.
it's cool. It's cool to pick up every now and then and, you know, annoy the neighbors. But yeah,
That's cool, man.
yeah, to answer your question, drums was really my first one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, that's awesome, man.
yeah.
I was just wondering, you know, like what came first for you, and drums came first for you, and then like how'd you get so, you know, so great at playing bass and learning? Because I know it's a different style between guitar and bass guitar.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and I've seen you several times, you know, with Chevelle, you
Mhm.
know, playing, and I was just curious, you know, like, you know, your different technique that you have to use for with Chevelle.
It's interesting because so there's a little bit of a longer story there if you're open for it.
Oh, go for it, man. Come on. Listen. This is
Okay.
what we're here
So,
for, man,
all
you
right,
know?
cool, cool. Yeah. So as far as bass goes, you know, like when I was a kid, I really started as like I want to be a musician on drums, but my parents had, you know, acoustics around the house, and so playing drums, and for some reason I wanted to get into songwriting and still start fiddling with everything. And then when I got a Tascam MK2, the 16
Mm,
inch tape deck, I
hmm.
learned how to record and keep looping myself, and I would end up writing songs that way, you know. And so that's kind of how I learned how to be a guitar player and the bass player and everything. And so I kind of had it all at one time. I
Hmm.
was always better at drums, but I was, you know, figuring out how to play guitar and bass and everything like that. And so when I ended up being the bass player for Chevelle, I I wasn't really a bass player yet. The first gig I got, as like I played on records and stuff, but the first gig I got was I was free for a long time. AEGES wasn't touring. I was trying to find something to do. And this band, The New Regime, was looking for a bass player, which is the Alon Rubin from Nine Inch Nails, the drummer.
Oh,
Yeah, it's his band that he sings and plays guitar in. And
okay.
I guess they had been auditioning, and nothing was fully clicking because it's not just about how good you are. It's how good you are and how well you mesh as people, you know?
All right.
So, you know, that guy's got a killer Rolodex of amazing musicians. So the fact that I was, you know, asked to come in and jam uh was awesome. So I came in, jammed, and got the gig, and I ended up doing, you know, like a year or so bass with those guys. And Pete, the singer, I guess this is going back to like being chill and like liking everybody.
Yeah.
The Chevelle guys, we became buddies. And so whenever they were in LA, they'd hang out. You know, AEGES had been on tour with them already for like a couple years. We had done stuff together. And so, you know, they were my friends at this point. And so they saw a post that I did of me playing bass, and they were looking for a bass player. And Pete called me one day, and it just kind of led to like, hey man, you like bass? I was like, I like playing good music with people. And so if I can, so yes, if that's bass, I like bass. And he was like, dude, we'd love to jam. I think we should jam if you're interested in that kind of thing. So that's kind of how that happened. But as far as the technique goes, getting prepared to play bass from guitar is, in my mind, it was hard to transition live because your right hand dealing with those fat strings,
Yeah.
like it was a big thing getting used to, because now I'm not going like I'm like you're like just pounding this big metal rope.
Hmm.
But it worked out, you know, and I feel very fortunate for those to have met those guys, and for them to, you know, consider me capable to continue their riff action. Yeah.
Man, that's a great story, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate
Man,
it.
that's a great story. I just man, you blew me
Well, that's
away
the
on
thing.
that.
Oh, thanks. Well, but that's always my thing, is like, you know, never, I tell this with musicians all the time, like, be cool to the openers, be cool to headliners, be cool to everybody, unless they're just not cool to you. Like, if they're not cool to you, then, you know, screw them, whatever. But
Yeah.
if they're nice, be nice back. Don't, you know, I understand being shy, but like, you know, personality and friendships go a long way, because that's really that's how I got the Chevelle thing. It's just being their friend for a long time, you know. And I wasn't ever looking for that gig because I didn't think that was a gig to get for anyone,
Right.
you know. And so we were just buddies, and I just enjoyed their company, and obviously really respect those guys, and would ask their opinion on tunes and stuff every now and then, and vice versa. You know, it was cool. It's just like, you know, homies.
Man, that's awesome, man. You know, I mean, especially to jam with those guys too.
Oh yeah, they're
Um,
awesome, dude.
I mean, how long like some of those runs go for, you know, out with Chevelle? Like, how long was your run? Like
Uh, well,
typically?
well, since the pandemic, you know, like that's when I jumped in it shortly after the pandemic. The runs haven't been super long, but I think the longest one was with Corn. That was like a month and a half.
Mm,
And that was awesome. Like I know before, pre-pandemic, they toured a lot. Like they were road dogs, you
mm,
know. So like they are road dogs at heart, 100%. So that I don't know what the future looks like as far as how long these tours are going to go, but I think if the opportunity arises and it's a long tour, it would be game on, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, when did you feel like do you ever felt like you made it in some of these bands that you've been in? Like,
Oh yeah, I feel like I've made it and lost it so many times.
yeah.
Many times. And it's like I am extremely grateful for my career because I've messed it up a million times, dude. Like,
Mm,
you know, so first time I feel like I made it was I had this band, The Rise. Well, I was the drummer for it. That's how I met Jamie Miller.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Rise went out with his old band, The Start, a bunch. And same thing, we became buddies. And he is one of my all-time fave drummers. He's such a
Mm,
ripper.
yes, he is.
Yeah. But so the Rise went out, and we signed to Ferret Records, and then towards the end, it was a short-lived band, maybe like 2 years or so, but it was, I mean, you know, we make one record. Next thing you know, we're like on MTV Road Rules compilation. We're going to Europe, with Snapcase and Time in Malta. And then the next European tour was with Melt Banana. And we actually bailed on that because we broke up. But the band was exploding. And it was Rick Rubin came to the show, our
What?
LA show. We were meeting with American Records. In my mind, this was pre Linkin Park. And the Rise is like the Refused with
Okay.
a lot more electronica. And I could see, you know, in a Rick Rubin type mind, he might have seen it as a potential Linkin Park style thing. Although
Yeah.
they were way more commercial than we were, like they were more accessible than we were for sure. But I was like, man, could that have been us? But we broke up,
Mm.
you know, I don't know, for stupid reasons. You know, we didn't get along all that well. We got our gear stolen 5 or 3 times.
Oh,
Actually, I
wow.
lie. We get along super well, but like I was, you know, I was the drummer at this point, and I love playing guitar. But the thing that drove me nuts as the drummer and made me want to stop playing drums for a while was I would throw up after every single show because I would give it everything I have. I'd be like just going hard, right? And
Yeah.
the Refuse style music that's the most aggressive, as you know,
Yeah.
with body count. You're going, dude. You're going, and those dudes are kind of chill. Like, I mean, it's hard, but you're exhausted. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how it was with the Rise stuff. And then next thing you know, they got their amp, head, cab, guitar, boom, in the van. They're off drinking, partying, talking to whoever, and I'm sitting there breaking down my cymbals. I'm throwing up. Like as soon as we were done, I'd run to the bathroom and throw up, or I'd have a bucket on the side because I'd be so
Yeah.
exhausted. And you know, you get, I don't know if that happens to you, but if you're like, see, if you work out too hard, you're just like shaky.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
me. And I'd be breaking stuff down. As soon as I'd be done, they're
Mm.
like, "Are you ready to go? We're all packed up. We're settled." Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, I haven't even had a beer. I haven't chilled. Like, that's not fair. You
It's
know,
it's not.
nobody helped me. Nobody helped me. And now we're getting in the van to go to the next place. I haven't even really hung out here. So I don't know. I
Oh.
guess that was a little like a prima donna move on my part, but I was like, man, playing drums sucks. But it's the best. It's my favorite. That's my favorite instrument, drums. But yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, did you? I completely know what you're saying,
Yeah.
and but I mean, I wish I got to to play other instruments and stuff like that, and done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do get you on the drum stuff.
Yeah.
And totally feel you on that, and totally understand.
Oh wait, but on your question, sorry. See, this whole
Oh,
thing. My wife is like, you need to make notes so you don't ramble. So I ramble.
oh.
Yeah. So us breaking up, that was an opportunity I feel like I squandered, but I wasn't the only one that squandered that opportunity. We squandered it as a whole, because that the rise was like skyrocketing. I think we could have had something super special. Still do as friends, but whatever.
Right.
And then from there, I joined where I first met Todd Morris, this band Juliette and the Licks.
Oh,
They
you
had been
were in
together.
that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm the other guitar player, songwriter.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, yeah, that's how Todd and I know each other. So they had made a 4-song EP, and their tour manager, or Juliet's manager, was a fan of mine. So after the rise, I started a band called Vice Versa, which was kind of like the Foo Fighters meets the Darkness. And this dude Rob Hitt, the drummer of Midtown, put our record out on his label I Surrender.
Hmm.
And that band, we were so young, and all I wanted to do was succeed. I was like, we need to move to LA. That's where label management, everything is. And the guys weren't on the same page as me. And long story short, we're driving home, unfortunately, from a show with our label owner. We had just played with Midtown in Florida. We're driving home. I get a call from Juliet's manager, who was a fan of my bands, who was co-owner in Fiddler Records. Hey, Juliette is interested in you playing guitar. Would you be down? And we had just started our drive from Florida. And I go, yeah, I'm down. Basically hung up. Hey guys, band's over. We're starting our 30-something hour drive home, because I was like, I'm so young and all I want to do is succeed. I don't want to wait or like see what happens if people aren't going to join me in that journey.
Yeah.
And so I went out to LA and started playing with the Licks, and then everything clicked and it was awesome. And we wrote like I said, they had the 4-song EP. They put my name on it as lead guitar, but I guess I'm kind of breaking knowledge on that, as I didn't play on it.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate them putting my name on it. That's cool, but I didn't play on it. I played and wrote with Todd, and I were the songwriters. So I played and wrote on Speaking My Language, which is the first full length we did, and then 4 on the Floor, which is the record we did with Dave Grohl. Which is
What?
awesome.
Oh.
And there's like little mini docs and stuff on the internet of the recording of that record. But so that band, another time I feel like, made it and then lost it kind of thing. Like, I won't go into the intricacies of being in a band, as these things, but that band just worked so hard. Kudos to Juliette for being that driven of an artist. But at a certain point, I felt like it was detrimental to my health, the health of our band, everything like that. And I guess I was probably the only one that really saw it that way. And
Right.
so I left. But I left with the most positive intentions. The guy that came in, I gave him all my gear, because I was like, if you're gonna play all my parts, sound like me, at least tone wise. So I put my stuff on the bus and gave it to him. But yeah, that was just one of the things, when you look back, you're like, I wonder if we could have patched that a little bit better, as opposed to just being young and like cutting the cords so fast. But it's funny enough, we're all playing again and as the original team and songwriting, and we've gone to Nashville a couple of times and recorded. So I think 2023, eventually we're gonna have new Juliette Licks tunes, which is fun. Yeah. She's
Awesome.
like she always like tweets or puts things out like 2023 is gonna be tight, new licks. And it's me, Todd, Juliette, and Jason Womack. I'm not sure if you know him. He's the bass player. He's the best. He plays
That sounds
guitar
familiar.
he plays guitar for Fuel. Well, I guess the last rendition of Fuel, I guess now it's back to the guitar players thing, but
Yeah.
Brett Scalion's Fuel.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and he's the Johnny Cash in Petty Cash, if you've ever seen Petty Cash.
Yes.
For all those people watching this, Petty Cash is the Tom Petty Johnny Cash cover band I have, which is everybody from Juliette and the Licks, minus the drummer, and then the drummer for AEGES, and bass player who used to be formerly a Filter, Fuel, and Carl's Jr. He was like,
Yeah.
eat a cheeseburger. He was that guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, so then there was that one, and then the AEGES one I kind of mentioned, where it was like we asked the label to drop us because we thought we could do better on our own, which, I mean, maybe we could have, but then the pandemic happened. But I still think, you know, we should have probably stayed and worked things out. And, you know, it was no animosity. It's not like we didn't like each other, but it was just one of those things where like, there should be more happening, you know? Yeah. But now I'm back up, you know.
Dude.
Now I got my Chevelle guys, you know. I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff in between, but I guess as an individual artist creating my own music, those were my ups and downs. And I feel extremely fortunate to have gotten even one, because most people don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So maybe people want to hear what I'm doing. I don't know.
I think so. That's the reason why I'm asking for this interview, man. You know, so
Appreciate it. All right. When I got that message, I was like, oh yeah, that's rad. I get to freaking hang with Will. That's gonna be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And plus I wanted to get you to know you better.
Yeah,
And you know, because man, you're just a talented musician, man. And I'm just curious, you know, about you. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I had to get you on this show.
Perfect. I'm stoked to be here, man.
That's awesome.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, eRecord Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their e-record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps Store. One more other question. I got a few more other questions though, but can you name, like, out of all of the bands that you've been with and people that have heard or going to hear,
Yep.
what is your two favorite songs from each band?
From each band that I've had.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Rise, my problem with the Rise is the names are super long. So the only one I can really remember is the single, which is called The Fallacy of Retrospective Determinism for a Predetermined Body Type. Whoa. Usually you only say the beginning of that, and it's like one of those memories that's been stuck away. I said the beginning and it just kept coming. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only one I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna remember the other one. That's not my favorite one, but I do love that one. I love all those.
Right.
But I think you can only find one record on Spotify. There's like another Rise, and it's like a techno band. And so that's definitely not us. So I'm gonna find it for you, and I'll show the camera just so people can find it. So
Awesome.
it's this. Oh, here you go. Durational Expectancy. That's one of my favorites, but yeah, it's that. It's got that eagle on there.
Right.
Boom. Yeah. So get up on that whenever you can. It's cool. So yeah. So those two. And then the licks, I would say, you know, as far as songwriting goes, and how excited I was. See, I gotta look this stuff up, just so I get the names right. I was really excited about the song Pray for the Band LaToya, because it's not necessarily my favorite on the record, but the story behind it is so exciting. And I think that was one of the first riffs that I had that we started working on. And so just the whole history behind that song, I think is really exciting. It's about a waitress that we ran into, like late night diner at like Waffle House or something like that had this really beautiful story. And it just connected with the song. And then the other one, which is, I think it was a Todd riff that we ended up finishing. So it's more so a Todd song. But the first song on Four on the Floor, the song Smash and Grab, it has one of my favorite guitar solos I've ever written in my life, because you can ask any of the producer people or songwriters that I've worked with or whatever, I have a fascination with half steps. So, you know, so for example, for anybody watching this that doesn't know, here we go. So like if I want to go from here to here, I'm gonna go, which is an AEGES song, you know.
Right.
So that whole solo is half steps for days. And so I guess if you were like a muso, which I'm not, but you could probably cut it up into a million different like keys or scales. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, potentially crushing the pop music theories. I don't know. I'm not. You know, it's just I just really like that solo. And then AEGES. I mean, my favorite, honestly, are on this new record.
Okay.
But lyrically, my favorite song is one of the first ones we did, which is a song called Roaches, Roches, just right, like cockroach, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the first 2-song EP we put out. It was Roaches and the song Dirt. And Roaches is basically just about being a trash human, but
Okay.
the whole song never repeats. So there's choruses and verses and everything, but the choruses, it's a story, and so it never repeats any line.
Mm.
But it works, you know. And that, to me, I was like, wow, that's cool. Like, I've never done that again, you know. And so I was really stoked on that. And then I don't know, maybe my other favorite one would be this. Actually, I don't know. That's a hard one to say. I like
Yeah.
there's a song, well, The Hunter. I'll have to say The Hunter.
Okay.
It's but Dream State is really one of my favorites. I'm just gonna start naming all my songs.
That's all right.
So The Hunter for AEGES is like when people start recognizing us as like a riff monster type band,
Okay.
you know, where anytime anybody references our band, or like say we're gonna go in the studio next month, and this dude Eric Palmquist is gonna be it's at his studio and he's helping us record drums. If you're not familiar with him, he's done like a bunch of Thrice records and other bands. Yeah, he's incredible. He doesn't do a lot of heavier music, and so that's what I really like about him. You know,
Right.
he's a big melody guy too, but we're only doing drums with him. But shoot.
That's all
What I
right.
was gonna say just it left my brain. Oh, I don't know, it's about songs. But anyway, the songs that we're doing with him are probably lyrically and everything some of my favorite. Oh, the riff monster thing, that's what I was saying. It's like
Mm.
when I called him, he was like, oh man, I'm super excited. You guys are like the riff band. And it's not like you guys are, you know, super cool songs or this. It's like we're known as like the riff band, which
Right.
being known as anything is super cool. But
Yeah.
I'm down with the riff band. I love riffs, and so you know, that's one takeaway that I hear a lot when people describe AEGES. There's a lot of riffs.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Any of those songs, any of them that get you like emotional?
Uh, I mean, kind of, I guess. I think I slept on some of the lyrics sometimes. Like, lyrics are like my least favorite thing to do. And
Yeah.
so the ones that actually got me emotional, like I have this song called Crash, which I wrote when my previous dog passed away. And I don't
Mm.
have kids, so for me, that was like straight up like losing a child. And haven't been able to put it on a record. You know, I think it's because I'm connecting to that song so much more than anyone else. And I couldn't show anybody that song for months. I would just start crying, you know, when I would
Yeah.
listen to it or whatever. That's really the only time I've had that kind of emotion.
Mm.
But there's a song on the end of this album AEGES has called Above and Down Below. And the song is called As I Grow Old. And it's about just getting older, you know. And I think uh we recorded that ourselves, and you know, everything, engineered everything ourselves, and this dude Matt Hyde mixed it, mastered it. And so we just had this studio, you know, we just kind of lived there, and I would sit in the control room, or no, the you know, the live room. Jeez, I don't know what I
Yeah.
could do that. Yeah, I sit in the live room with a um, nylon string guitar and just kind of played these chords back and forth until it felt right. And the end of the song, like, it's really sad, and then it gets really big and grandiose. Jesse Green from the Foo Fighters played violin on it too, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it ends the way that it began, which was the nylon string and me singing. But at this point, it was just one mic in the middle of this big live room, and I was just singing super quiet. And it kind of it definitely brings that emotion together, you know. And you can hear it
Mm.
throughout the songs. There's, you know, we didn't do the auto tune thing or any of that stuff. So we didn't even choose the best takes vocally, but they had the most emotion in them. And so as far as AEGES goes, that's the song that like makes me feel the most, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, man, I gotta hear these songs, man.
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah.
I love hearing stuff like that, and especially when people get emotional on the records,
Sure. Yeah.
like that, because
Yeah.
it just makes you want to feel it more.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about hearing like
Uh,
what you're just telling me, like that.
yeah.
Oh, going back,
Mhm.
what about your two favorite songs from Chevelle?
Oh, my two favorites. Well, here's the thing with Chevelle. So I didn't, write a recording of those songs. And
Right.
so, yeah, which I think is very common knowledge. I'm the new guy. But my favorite, one of my favorites to play, you know, uh, I think their new record, Neuradius,
Yes.
is my favorite that they've ever done.
Mm.
I love all of them, but this new one, when they sent it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, dudes, this is so cool. It's like they, every record, if you're a great band, you evolve a little bit every record. And as they do, they stay true to who they are, but they consistently strive for, something new. They're not trying to write the same song over and over. And I really feel like they definitely took a risk on that record, a lot more riffs. Pete's hitting these notes that are like, ozone.
I,
And
I
like,
I didn't
it's
know it
awesome.
was him doing it.
Dude,
Like,
that's the crazy part. It's just the three of us on stage. And I'm like, dude, I'm just going digga 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 binga binga binga, and you're going la, like hitting all these notes and going like this the whole time. I'm looking over like I feel like a chump just holding the bass down when you're just over there like sweating and just giving it. But he makes it look so easy. And I think that like,
oh,
I mean, it's like I said, I feel extremely fortunate to be able to play with people that I respect as opposed and like admire and like seek to get on their level, because they're on another level. Because a lot of times as a hired musician, you get hired for gigs that you don't really want to do, and you have to choose if you need to do it or not. And
yeah.
I feel in my career very fortunate to have not really had to do those. But sorry, I'm looking because like I said, I'm bad at song names, so I'm looking at the song names
Mm-hmm.
so that I can tell you. So Face to the Floor, which was on La Gargola, I believe. Was that La Gargola? No, Hats Off to the Bull.
Mm.
Face to the Floor, boom, da 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 da, boom, boom. I just like that riff playing it like
Yeah.
when Pete and I like and Sam, of course, because he's the one, we're following him. But when Pete and I's right hand, we worked on that for so long.
Mm.
Like, okay, lock in, lock in. When that riff locks in, now it's just like we're on this train. I feel like it's just so heavy. And then we hit the second verse together vocally, and it's just like it's a very simple song to play, but it's so, so powerful.
That's great.
And so that's one of my favorites. And then the other one, I think, well, Self-Destructor has been one that we've been playing a lot live, and that's off the new record, and that one's super cool. That's one of those songs where it's like on the chorus, I'm really just writing like 16th notes
Yeah.
on 16th, eighths. I guess
I was
depending on how you count it, probably
right.
eighths. Probably eighths, depending on how you count it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just writing eighth notes like on three chords, but he's going better and singing this melody. But that song has riffs for days in it. I mean, all their songs really do. But it's a killer tune and fun to sing backups to on all of them and that one. But yeah. So I'd say those are my two favorites as of this interview.
Right.
Yeah. We'll get off and I'll go, wait, no, I think it's this one now.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to cut that interview, man, and just
Yeah.
edit it and let me put these songs in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Cool.
Man, so what's next with you, man? What's the next thing that you're gonna be getting into?
Well, Chevelle has shows coming up. Those aren't till May. The ones that are announced are in May. It's like the big festivals like Sick New World and Sonic People and stuff like that. But in the immediate future, like I'm going in the studio in a couple weeks with AEGES to track drums and everything else. Like we were talking earlier, I'll be finishing at home, guitars, vocals, bass, all that stuff. And that will determine how we're releasing it, another label or self, whatever. I'm also working on like a solo record, which drummer to drummer, you'll enjoy this. This dude Mark Schulman, who was with Pink and
Yep.
Foreigner and all that, he's
Yep.
playing drums on it.
Really?
Yeah, so when in the Licks, like back in the Licks days in like 2005, Pink invited us out to a show. We're in Europe and we're both in London. She's like, hey, you guys want to come out to a show? And we did, and you know, we're all kind of the same age. We ended up becoming buddies, and like, so we became buddies with Pink and her whole camp. And Mark's daughter, fast forward along, years later into 2014,
Yeah.
Mark's daughter, she was tiny at the time. She was our flower girl at our wedding. And yeah, so I've done a couple of things with Mark, and her guitar player, Justin Derrico, as well as Pink. Alicia's jumped up with Petty Cash and ripped with her, which I don't know what's taking you so long, bro. Got to get out there and rip with us, man.
I want to.
Thought about this. Feel like, how come you haven't come up with it? Yeah.
Come on, I'll do it. I'll
Yeah.
do it, man. Yeah.
Dude, well, I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen. So yeah, I'm working on a solo thing, which is totally different than kind of anything I've done. It's mainly acoustic based. I'm trying to do things like odd meter and stuff like that, just stuff that I would normally do in my heavy songwriting. Try to put that down with the acoustic stuff, but I'm not going to do like dun 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 jing jing. It's acoustic songs.
Yeah.
Done like acoustic songs should be, or how I would do acoustic songs. And then I've got a bunch of mix gigs that I'm doing because I mix records and produce records and stuff. So I'm mixing a couple records. One of which I guess they had Kelly Scott. They hired Kelly Scott for drums.
Okay.
Yeah, so that should be fun. I'm doing that in a couple days. And then I did a record with this producer S.J. Jones, who's a younger female producer, not younger in like her 20s, but she's a younger female producer, and she's awesome, man. She's killer, great producer, great engineer, great writer. And she hired me to play guitar on this record for this lady. Miss Velvet is her stage name. And I was out with Chevelle learning the songs and stuff, and it just came out ripping. It's like, it's like an Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, like throwback, but like to the heavier side of it,
Yeah.
And her voice is like gravelly and hits these notes, like she's doing it right. And so that came out so well. We became such great buddies that, they told me, so I'm locking it in here. I'm doing the next one coming up. We've already started like songwriting and stuff, which is cool. So yeah, I guess it's all that, just writing as much as I can do. Anytime anybody wants to call me, the answer most of the time will be a yes. Yeah. So I am readily available and looking to party.
Dude, man, you know what?
Sonically party, I guess. I'll have a beer or two with you. But
right, yeah.
I'm not, yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I was gonna ask, man, like after you're recording and everything, is there like any kind of like stuff that you use for recording yourself, singing wise?
Like as far as like mics and stuff?
Well, mics, programs,
like
Tools. Software.
I've always been a Pro Tools guy. My first record with the Rise, we did it at the drummer of this band, Elliot's loft. His name was Kevin Ratterman, I believe. I think that was his name. Incredible drummer. And he used New Window. So I got my start on New Window, which is turned into Cubase. Yeah, and it was PC based, I guess. And I that's kind of how I got my start. But then when I really got into when I left the Licks, I kind of stopped music for a while. I swore off guitar solos for some reason. I was like, I'm sick of solos. And I went to MI for about a year and took their engineering course. So I got, training, I got certified on like the SSL and all that kind of stuff.
Man.
So, yeah, it was awesome. That really helped me. I didn't end up putting everything that I learned to work right away, but I think I maintained most of it. But on the AEGES records, so it's all Pro Tools at home, and I'm usually singing through this, my
my LA 610.
UA LA610. That's usually my chain. Or if I'm doing guitars and stuff, I have my Focusrite IA8, which is an 8-channel pre here, or my Summit Audio 2BA221, two different pre's. So I've got like, you know, the 610, completely tube, massive. The Summit Audio 2BA is a tube solid state hybrid, and you can blend, which is kind of weird. So you can blend the two there. And then my Focusrite is all solid state, but amazing, you know.
Dude.
But that's really all the pre's I have at home. I don't have any EQs or anything. I've sold some stuff. I had like the Dangerous stuff, and it, you know, I would do my Dangerous summing, and I'd mix things for artists, and I'd go, you know, through my Dangerous 2-bus, and then I'd also bounce it from in the box, and I'd say, same mix, which one do you like better? And a lot of clients were like, I think I like this one better. So I was like, fine, I'm gonna sell it, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I bought it used. It's very possible that something could have been out of phase, or, you know. Yeah, I'm bad at maintaining my gear. Like half, I think only 2 of those guitars work.
All right.
You know? Like, the rest of them, it's like you know, the input's broken, or there's no pickup in it, or the neck's cracked. And so instead of fixing it, I go out and try to buy a new one, or get somebody to get one if I can. You know, guitar is expensive. But yeah, so my vocal chain is pretty simple. Yeah, and what I like to do, I guess this is if we're on the production tip, what I like to do a lot is drive my preamps on a direct signal for guitar. So I'll do like a normal heavy guitar sound, but then I'll also layer in just a distorted preamp, you know. And if the preamp won't kick up loud enough, I'll use a boost, which could mess it up, but it sounds pretty cool.
Hey, if it sounds cool, then
yeah,
why not?
I think Billy Corgan did it, but I think he used the Big Muff in front of it. But Jimmy Page on some Zeppelin solos, it is a Neve blasted. And funny enough is you can, like, for the gear nerds out there, on a lot of the Universal Audio stuff, how they've got the modelers, you can crank the modelers to do what the gear does, as far as like the harmonic distortion when it's driven too hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't blow up a plugin, but you can definitely blow up a preamp.
Right.
You know? So, yeah.
So I got one more last question.
Sure.
What would you tell the kids, you know, like to learn, or what to expect? Now, I love what you said about being cool.
Yeah.
Love that. But what else would you tell like some kids that might be watching this show?
Well, to reiterate, one would be respect. Always be respectful. Even if you don't think the person deserves respect, you can always walk away. You know, I think that's the big key. And being the best doesn't mean you're the best. You know, you can be, you know, I've gotten a million different gigs, walking into a room and being like, holy crap, that's the dude on the cover of Drum magazine. Why am I here auditioning? And I get the gig, you know. Just because you're the best doesn't mean you're the best or the right fit. That's where being cool comes in. And like, you know, if you end up going out and party, see all this, a lot of the advice I have isn't even about it being a musician. It's about being a human being. Is if you like to party, which there's nothing wrong with partying, you need to know your limits and your boundaries, and how you act and how you react when you're under the influence of whatever it is. And in my opinion, anybody's jumping in on my gigs, I don't like drugs, you know. You know, you can smoke weed, I don't care about that. But if you're like, just go do blow in the bathroom, be like, yeah, it's not really my vibe. But some people are, that's fine, whatever. But if you want to be in a band with me, or if I'm going to a band with somebody else, I know that I like 3 beers and I'm kind of done after that, you know.
Right.
I don't need to go any harder than that, and that's totally cool. Not like anything happens, but you know, sometimes I do have like you can get like the little man complex, you know. Like, yeah, I'm huge, man. You know, I don't fight anybody. I just get really happy and loud.
Right. That's cool,
you know,
man.
it's just knowing your boundaries on all levels. You know, personality, all that stuff, and yeah, just be respectful is my main thing.
Man, I think that's one of the things that I loved about you. And when I first met you, it was the whole total respect because I didn't know you yet,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so only heard about you from Todd, like I was like, oh my
Sure.
dude, Kemble, like I'm like, oh, I keep on hearing about Kemble, like who's
Yeah,
Kemble, so
yeah. That's awesome.
man, thanks for being so cool, man, and
Oh yeah, man, likewise.
thank you for. I'm gonna wrap this up.
Sure.
Thank you for being on my show.
Dude, I
Um,
was stoked. Like I said, when you sent me the message, I was like, yes, a Grammy winner wants to talk to me. By the way, wait, here's my finger. By the way, I'm pointing at your cubby thing back there. I see all this cool stuff, but I don't see your Grammy. That's where it needs to be.
oh, I
Right
know, but
there.
this is my son's room.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you can always bring it in and put it down.
That's true.
You know?
Next time I'll do that, and
Yeah.
like shing, you know,
Yeah, exactly. You can superimpose it on this one, so it's just kind of like
right?
floating. Yeah.
Just be kind of this like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's the coolest thing ever, man. That's awesome.
Kimball, thank you so much, bud. I
All right, man.
appreciate you doing this for me, man, and
Absolutely.
I hope to see you soon, man. Like I hope you come, or like. By the way, my wife and my father-in-law is huge Chevelle fans,
Yeah, yeah.
and I told him that that I was going to be interviewed. Like, what? I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, I get to
Yeah, I
do
think
that.
did I meet your wife? I feel like I met her for a split second at one of the
I
shows.
think you did. I
Yeah,
think you
because you had
did.
you had told me about her, and then it was maybe the next fest we ran into each other and we talked. Well, where do you live? Where
I,
are you in
I,
LA or?
I'm in LA, but I mean,
Oh,
like, I'm like an hour west
oh, okay,
from there. So
right on.
like,
Well, next
or
time we're in the hood, or if we're on the same circuit or whatever, tell your wife and father-in-law to come out, and we'll all hang. If
that'd
they
be
want to go
cool.
side stage or whatever, that'd be sick.
Right?
Yeah,
Awesome, man.
yeah,
Thank you, Kimmel.
yeah. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate it,
All right,
man.
all right, man. Have a great day, man.
Thanks.
All
You
right,
too.
take it
All
easy.
right.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, eRecord Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their e-record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.